So this is from a mental server that we got in our guild's family, and if you can see the timestamp here, it's from the 23rd of December 2023, and a very nice person, Grogu, who has left my guild this week. He asked me for a roster review, and as I said at the time, I haven't done a video for a while, but I would absolutely love to make that exception and do one for you. And honest to God, this has been one of the biggest shames for me in the past year. It's not like I go to this channel and look at these comments. I went here deliberately to get a screenshot because I was going to finally get around to doing it. I think I said I was going to do it yesterday, so I took the screenshot. A roster review takes an hour, but for whatever reason, I felt so overwhelmed in the past year. I've struggled to do that. So, Grogu, for you being such a great person, I want to put aside 1 hour of my time this next couple of days to get this done, because I'm actually ashamed I haven't done that for you. Hello there, everyone. So, it's been a while since I've done a video like this, but we are going to do a roster review today. So, there's been a little bit of a switch around for Grogu, and honestly, it prompted me to follow up on the little thing I put in the intro where, honestly, I've been feeling guilty about this for well over a year now. And it's a weird kind of guilt to be carrying around, so I thought, you know what, I'm getting rid of it. So, let's actually have a look at what Grogu's got. So, first of all, let's use Hot Utils, very good and very helpful compare to see what they've got. So, let's just see, we've got 11.3 million GP, we've got 242 Zetas, 39 Omicrons, 32 in GA. Have a look at the speeds. 25 pluses got 13. We've got 90-20 pluses. 229-15 pluses. I'll say that the offense 6% look good there, Grogu, 11. And the 4% is very decent as well at 40. I'm actually going to just do a comparison there for Temin. Okay, so Grogu's on the left. Temin's on the right. By the way, I didn't know I'd hit 12 million GP. So yeah. That is very impressive, Grogu, as far as the offense goes. I mean, we're pretty much neck and neck. I mean, I've got a little bit more on the 4%ers, but still doing grand there. So just scroll down a bit on. I'm going to just compare for myself, just for like giving myself some extra context. But relics for Grogu, we've got 5 relic 9s, we've got 19 relic 8s, 44 relic 7s, and 83 relic 5s. So honestly, I'd say you're doing good there as well. I mean, again, I'm using mine just for the comparison purposes. I've got a lot more total relics, so I feel like that's where the difference between us comes. But you're doing well. I've got more Datacrons, but let's just ignore Datacrons, because even though they are quite an important thing in gameplay, they come and go. So it's not really worth assessing it in a roster. But yeah, as far as GLs, we're actually neck and neck, bar the fact that my C is very anemic compared to yours. So yeah, you're ahead of me there, so GG's. What else we got? Actually, I'll tell you what, we'll go into mods and all that stuff in a minute once we go back into the game. So let's just scroll down for the actual, what they define as meta on the Hot Utils. Both of us are missing Balin and Bo. Both got Cat, Bane, Malgus. Your Ezra Exile is a little bit squishier than mine. But you have got Jar Jar. Obviously, no one's got Rey yet, but we've got the other 3, Raver, Starkiller, and Taran. Got all your ships done, I'm not surprised there. And you have got a 7-star Great Mothers, but just a bit of work to do with the gear. But yeah, put the Omicron on Luthen, which is something I would like to spare myself. So just for comparison purposes, as far as looking at what I know I've got versus what you've got, we are actually not that far apart. Quite interesting to see. Okay, so I'll admit I was on your profile here just in case we need to nosy at it for whatever reason, but let's actually go into the inventory. Let's see how things are looking. So first things first, let's have a look at your GLs and let's have a look at how they're actually looking. So we'll start off with Slugman. Alright, Jab, you don't need laugh. 519 does seem a touch slow. I wouldn't say Jabba needs like crazy fast speed, but I wouldn't have thought it would hurt. I mean, just going to bring up my own stats again. Yeah, my Jawa's not that much faster. 542, 151 health. I mean, I suppose that's okay. Our lookout, right? Again, he's not someone who needs to be crazy fast, but the faster he is, like any GL, the more chance he's not going to get countered out the gate. So that's the only reason that surprises me a little bit. But again, I can't say I'm that much faster. So it's like, with that, I'm trying to avoid hypocrisy, which I always try to do. And it's definitely there, because you're going to get the 30 speed there as well, so that bumps you up a bit. So yeah, let's just have a look at the actual mods, just see if there's anything there that could maybe tweak, or yeah, you've been unlucky there. I mean, you've got Tenacity, but it's a shame, because I mean, I can't tell from here if you've got calibrations available, but if you could calibrate that, I mean, I'm not sure if it's worth it with only having 11, but and that, oh, that's an unlucky one again in terms of, you know, you didn't get the plus 20 there. So you got 22 there, that's not bad. I'm going to say, got 23 there, and 12 there. Yeah, there's a few iffy ones there in terms of, you know, you got to 6E, sorry, not 6E, 6A, but didn't really get the speed to really push on with it. So, yeah, a little bit lucky there in terms of the actual mods themselves. But, yeah, I feel like Jabs just do have been a touch faster, but again, if it's working for you, it's working for you. Alright, Kenobi. 561 seems great to me. 107 again. I'm pretty sure for health you do want something around that ballpark, so that seems good. Damage, I'll be honest, I never really focus too much on damage, because even though Kenobi's an attacker, I can't help but think he's essentially a support for the attacker in Cat. You know, and you want him to survive as long as he can and make sure Cat survives. You know, I think there are a few characters in the game like that who've got a tag that really I don't think is their tag. And Kenobi's one. So, yeah, I think that looks fine myself. Anyone in the comments who wish to disagree, feel free to state your arguments and I'll take it on board. Right, so JML. Let's see. I have to keep in mind yours is R8, so it's like you might struggle a little bit with the actual getting the protection on without sacrificing things. So you have gone for protection primary. Got a bit of speed there, that's nice. Ooh, now that's right for a calibration if you've got the, you know, if you're not at a crazy high number for it. I mean, you could burn either the defense or the crit chance there and you wouldn't be sad to lose either. Yeah, that is quite interesting. You got 25 there, that's good. 21 there, plus a bit of protection. And just double back. You've got double protection there. You double there. And you didn't get a protection flat there, but still it was a protection primary, so that's solid. But yeah, bit of a shame there was no flat protection there either. That's such an odd one, isn't it? Because I actually do like the mod. You know, I think, right, 21 speed, it's not perfect. You know, you obviously want 25 pluses. That's the, like, the dream mods. But can't help but look and think, right, 21 speed, potency for JML is beautiful because it just means you're landing ability blocks, breaches, etc. But if I said to you calibrate, I would not want you to drop the potency. And in principle, I wouldn't want you to drop the offense either. So yeah, it's a very interesting mod. It's a shame you only got 21 with 5 rolls on it. And last but not least, we've got this. It's 23. You've got 3 slices on protection percentage, which is nice, and potency. Let's just have a look at that in total then. All right, so I'm not exactly sure how that's happened, but you've ended up with more health than protection. Yeah, that's a bit peculiar. I might need to compare to my own again, but actually, let's just check. Can I see? Here we go. Here's mine. Mine's R9, so obviously we've got to take the protection bump that naturally comes in there. But yeah, usually protection does go higher, especially when you're modding so heavily for it. But I don't really know what's happened there. Again, maybe the R9 bumps it up and suddenly you're at, I think it might be 142 protection, maybe? I can't remember what the R8 to R9 boost is. But maybe that's it. Maybe if you did that, you get a crazy high bump. But yeah, your potency is really nice. I like that. And Yeah, I was just thinking, yeah, some people do crit avoid, but I just remembered you did potency on your arrow, so yeah, I do like it. I think that's the only question mark I've got, where the protection went, but I'm going to assume it's the R8 versus R9. All right, Leia. Let's have a quick look at the stats this time. So 545 and 148 health. Let's have a look at the actual mods again. So speed, health, primaries, defense. I honestly would be tempted to calibrate that, or even the protection. Well, to be honest, I'm saying that I would roll the offense because it's flat offense where it's doing nothing. So I would actually calibrate that if you could and try and hit the health. I mean, that would be really nice with Leia. So speed 21, solid. Just it's early days as Grogu, but what I will say is I think if you had more 25 pluses, you would have such a crazy account in some ways. I think you've just been very unlucky in terms of mod rolls at times. So I'm curious if that carries on throughout, but I am feeling for you just looking at a few of these like this where it's 21 at 5, you're thinking just that small little jump into it that you seem to be struggling on, at least at this point I'm seeing. All right, so yeah, let's just move on from that one. We've got 20 here. That's probably worth the calibration. You could get rid of that flat defense easily. Leia's a bit of an odd one for crit chance. If I recall correctly, there is something about her team where in general crit chance isn't bad. Don't think it's necessarily Leia. I think she is okay for crit chance. So personally, I would say get rid of the flat defense because it's doing naffle, and if you can calibrate it to get speed, hey, do it. But yeah, it landed on defense, it wouldn't be the worst, and crit chance would be a bit, but you could live with it. Was that the one that just looks on? Yeah. Right, so let's go to the circle. 24 speed, again, that's nice and solid. A little bit unlucky I haven't had a 4% of that. We got a 16 speed, 6.66 health. Make sure I do the sign, a Hail Mary kind of thing with that. But yeah, let's have a look at the square. 23 and 4.5 health. That's, again, nice and solid. Just, you know where I'm coming from, I hope. It's those little numbers that are just being shaved off. You know, instead of a 25, it's a 23. I'm feeling for you, man. Okay. Hang on, let me just back in, because I didn't actually... Yeah, so 148. Let me just compare to mine, because again, mine's R9. Mine's 164. So I actually think that's fine. You know, I'm thinking, I don't know the exact number for the R8 to R9 jump for Leia, because usually it's a protection jump, but maybe there was a bit of health that went on. So it could be that I've just got a few more health percentages as well, or higher ones, higher secondaries as well included. So maybe that explains why my health pool's a little higher, but in general, I don't think it's too bad. Maybe the only thing I would say, I'm looking at mine there, that's 555. So it's not like the biggest gap in speed either, so I would say it's fine. But yeah, Leia's looking good. Okay, Sith Eternal Emperor. Okay, for me, beautiful. 200,000, you've hit the target. When I've been like refining C, I've always made sure I keep that, and then if I can just add speed, I add it. So I like him at 500 just because that feels like a nice round number, but I think where you are, it's fine. I wouldn't worry about it. I'm not going to go too in depth here because I feel like just at a glance, it's a similar story to the other ones, just you've kind of been unlucky with rolls. So we'll move on. Tennyson aware of just saying the same thing about 15 million times. So Slacker, 134 health, 559 speed, and damage 11,000. Now, how I've been modding Slacker is different to how I did it probably the last time I did these videos, which was at the time I was going more down an offense set route and maybe even having Slacker a bit slower. But I feel like in recent times the way I've modded has gone pure speed. So I wouldn't say what you've got is bad. 559 is pretty fast. I feel like the goal is more like 570, 580, if you, well, between 570, 580, because it's just that nice little bump when you've got the leadership as well kicking in. It usually means Slack is effective 600. So, again, I'm not going to say it's bad. Plus 30 there, it's still very nice and solid. But again, if ever you get upgraded mods, it might just be worth giving Slacker one or two of them just to say, here you go, let's just get you a bit quicker. Especially if you, I can't remember from conversations if you said you were going to go for Darkside Ray this time, but even if you get a later down the line, you'll probably appreciate it as well. And speaking of Rays, here's OG Ray, or the third of her kind at least. Offense health sets, that looks solid. 219k health, that's very nice. 508 speed. 11k damage. Alright, that is pretty damn good. I mean, again, the benchmarks I've tried to train myself to remember, I think it is again about 200k health for Ray. Damage I aim for 12 to 13k, so you're a little shy on that, but it's not the worst thing. And you've got the speed over 500, so again, for me that looks solid. I'm sure there's someone who would be saying, yeah, you want more of everything. But I think in general, that looks pretty solid. So yeah, very nice looking Ray. Right, so as I said before, I've done these before and they used to take forever. So I'm just going to try and quickly go through factions, just so that I'm not going forever down your list, down your roster, I should say. So we're going filter by speed as well, just to get a gauge of how you're modded. So Ewoks seems to be the fastest, good. 301, okay, that's a good start. Arc Trooper next, 288. Fives, 269. Hi. Gassy Baby is 260. Now, this is the interesting one in terms of extra stats. 119 protection, 8,000 damage. So for Relic 8, have I got... I'm pulling my own up again. Just bear with me 1 second. Only I say that and I realise I'm going to edit all the waiting out. Okay, so this is Crimson. So the reasons I've gone for Crimson is it's the same relic level, so less disparity. So I've got less protection than you. That is actually very interesting. But my physical damage is a lot higher. I'm at 11,000 versus your 8. So at a glance, I would say we've gone down 2 different mod paths. You've gone for a defensive build. I've gone for an offensive build. Now, move this back here a sec. I honestly don't think that there's anything wrong there. I think essentially we've just decided to go different ways in terms of modding. But I think it all depends what you use your gas for. I mean, me personally, gas tends to be on defense for me a lot at the moment, so I feel like if he has offense, it means when he does stand, he's going to hit hard. Whereas if you're going to use him on defense, maybe there's that practicality of more protection means he's going to be standing longer, he's going to be taking more damage for you. So yeah, by all means, I do like the idea of what you've done. I have gone differently, but again, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's just different use cases. Alright, so after that it was Echo. I don't think there's too much to look at Echo, yeah. I mean, I didn't even really glance at it. 260 speed, arguably that's a little bit excessive. I mean, I would be thinking more about the offense in there, probably. I mean, let me just check special damage. I'm trying to remember from Cam Mission there. Yeah, so... I mean, it's alright. But I think that is why I would be focusing anyway, because I think the only reason to mod specifically for Echo would be potency. But that's honestly just in case you want to stun droids, and honestly droids aren't that meta right now, so it's not that important. But yeah, so turn order wise, I would say you're looking okay. I think I would try and get gas quicker than 5s. Other than that, I would say you're okay though. I mean, Echo arguably is second last. You know, again, this is where I'm being very... I'm thinking about my own as much as anything. I know tactical awareness does grant speed, but I've never really thought about making 5s super fast. Because in general, I feel like the clones are fast enough. So, you know, just modding more for 5, sacrificing defense, it's like, not defense as a stat, but defensive stats like elf protection, etc. I've never really felt like it's worth going down that road, but it's not bad either. It's just my particular preference shining there, I think. All right. Speaking of good clones, let's have a look here. We've got 4 of the 5 Bad Batch. How fast is Echo? 315. Okay, could be a little bit quicker. I think like 330, 340 is like a good low end modding. I think if you can get 350 plus, you're doing grand. So just a little bit behind there. I'm also acknowledging here Bad Batch have fallen off the meta a bit, but as we can see here, they are slowly coming back into it. Also, just to acknowledge mine are puny on my main account, so you're doing better than me. But yeah, really the others don't matter as much in terms of what they've got, as long as they've got like generally the right stuff, like obviously health mods, etc. 252. I would have tech a bit quicker than Wrecker, if I'm being honest. Got the potency on. Yeah, if we're talking turn order, I'd personally be going Echo, Tech, Wrecker, Hunter. So if you could maybe get tech a bit quicker, that might be beneficial to you, but I'm thinking that you might be using Shakti as a 5th in the team if ever you use them. So it wouldn't really matter too much because you essentially use Shaq's first special on Echo that gets him sped up to take a turn, and then they just take over pretty much. So I wouldn't worry about it. It's just if you want to fine tune it, that's what I would be suggesting. Just get tech a bit quicker. Let's move on anyway. Bounty Hunters. So, Bushy Baby. I know she's going to fall under Hook Cartel, but I might as well have a gander here. 301 speed and 66k health. Potency is pretty high as well. So, one thing that I keep in mind with Bush, I do try to keep her a little bit quicker than that. So, I think, and I might be wrong, but I think on my main she's about 330 speed. Again, you've got like the speed bonus from Jabba's lead coming into play there, and it just kind of feels right to try and make her a little bit faster. Not necessarily so she's taking a turn straight after Jabba and, you guaranteeing she'll be early. But I'm thinking of for GAC, for instance, I use Afra pretty much every GAC. The ones that I've struggled with Afra, they tend to be when Bush is just that little bit quicker. Because if she's able to get more of the thermals out, plus you've got the potency on, it becomes very difficult because you're at risk of losing the droids. And if you lose the droids, it's game over. So, yeah, I'm not saying, mod Bush crazy fast for that reason, because honestly, that was probably what you would need. You need something like 350, 360, I'm guessing. But I think that is what does complicate it for Afra. So maybe something to keep in mind again, that if you can afford to spare Bush some speed down the line, I would try and build her up a little bit more. Oh, sorry, just one last thing. The health as well, that is another thing that does make it harder for teams to counter Jabba, just because if it takes longer to chew through Bush, then the rest of the team have got time to almost protect her, or to deal enough damage to protect her essentially. So one other modding strat I've seen in the past is building the health pool up on Bush just a little bit. Like sometimes you see 100k health Bushes. So I wouldn't go out your way to do it. You've got what I remember as the right mod sets for Bush. But, if you can spare some health somewhere down the line, I would try and give it a go. Okay, so let's go for the OGs now. So, Bosky Baby. So 271 speed, you've got 115 tenacity, 90k protection. They all look solid to me. I feel like bounty hunters have gotten to a weird place in the game where I honestly still love them in terms of when they are fast, but I respect the fact that it's hard to justify it. Especially because you're in similar shoes to Crimson, where you've got Grief and Mando below Relics. And if you can't put Relics or Datacrons on that team, then I wouldn't say that they drop off badly, but it certainly benefits them. And yeah, I just know that pain. I did push some, I can't remember if it was Car Attack or not, but I made sure I got Mando to Gear 12 last year. And at some point this year, I want to push them both to Relic because they are worth it in that sense. But yeah, it's a rough one. Alright, hang on, I was doing the wrong tab there. So Django's going to fall into a couple of categories here. Let's have a look. So 266 speed, not the biggest health pool, and not the biggest chunk of damage. Speed, we've got a bit crit damage and speed. Alright, that could do with changing. You want the offense primary. We've got down here, and a little bit of speed. Yeah, so that explains it. I'm not seeing too much offense on him. Now, the reason I would focus on him, I can't even show it, the fact that he's got so many tags. You know, he's such a flexible character, Django, that on both of my accounts, he's now Relic 7. I wouldn't say I've got him like crazy fast, crazy offensive, but you want to make sure that he's got as much as you can spare for the simple fact. Whether it be, say, being part of a trench team, being part of a Darkside Mandalorian team, maybe an odd one, but say you're doing Conquest and you need a Darkside mercenary team, it's just handy having him able to do his part. So for that reason, I would suggest just getting a bit more on him. But like I phrased it, only what you can spare. And as we're going through this, it's probably going to be that you haven't got a lot to spare, but we just think about how you gradually get more mods. Hopefully that will change. Alright, so Bulba. So let's see. I don't really think there's too much I want to comment on Bulba. If anything, I can't say I've focused too much on him myself. I vaguely remember crit chance is a good one for him, but I can't remember why. Yeah, it's not ringing a bell why you'd want crit chance, but something about that seems right. Chrysanthemum. Nice chunk of protection. And yeah, see the armor. 66. Maybe could be a touch higher, but it's not bad or anything. I'm saying this just in general. It's not a reflective of your roster, but it's just something I've seen recently, that a way of modding Chrysanthemum that could be annoying is going down a tenacity route, because it sounds quite obvious when you say it, but if you can't land debuffs on Chrysanthemum, like for instance shock if you're doing Starkiller, that is a massive pain in the backside. So it's not going to be something that I would say to everyone, oh yeah, go mod tenacity on Chrysanthemum, because then other counters will appear probably that will just not focus on debuffs, but then focus on the fact that maybe he's got a lower health pool, or lower protection pool. But again, I'm just putting it out there in the sense of, you know, say you're thinking, right, should I do health sets, defense sets? Maybe there's an argument to do nasty sets with good health protection secondaries. So, yeah, just a thought. I'm not saying anything bad there, just keep it in your mind, I guess. Okay, so the rest of these I am actually going to skip over for the fact that, honestly, I don't really think there's too much to pay note to. The one thing I will just quickly glance at, you did 271 boss, 205 grief. So the idea would be with grief, you want 270 speed on him. Whether it's at gear 12 or Relic, you want him effectively one speed slower than Bosk. So that's a very tricky one. The mini game for you, but but like this, while you're chilling in there with Fat Kid and Ash, you know, doing what you can to just get some enjoyment out of the game, maybe that's a little mini game for you. Just see if you can get your Bosk and your grief lined up, because it's a challenge, at least if you haven't got hot utils. Alright, droids. Anything we can look at here? We've got Sortie. Okay, nothing too crazy going on here. I mean, I wasn't expecting too much anyway, because Sortie's kind of one of those droids. But saying that she makes them better than they were. Is there a Zeta there, by the way? Yeah, double Zeta. I wasn't sure. Stats 3-star. I can't blame you there. I took both my stats to Relic 7, and I would say I regret it because they're both good for the raid, but everywhere else they don't really get up to much. So yeah, I can't judge anyone for not doing anything there. Although, in isolation, it's kind of crazy that a 3-star stats quicker than all of these other droids. Alright, I'm going to leave 3PO till later. Let's have a look at GG. Okay, that looks right. Just a little shy of the 150 health goal. Have you got the crit damage on? Yep. Now, this is something that I was doing for a spell again. I feel like I've switched out of it purely down to needing more mods of different kinds. Or maybe even the opposite now I think about it. What I have done, I have put a speed primary on the arrow, health primary on the triangle, but then a potency primary on the cross. And you're then aiming to try and make Grievous, you will naturally be a little bit weaker, so you're probably around 130 to 140 health. But then the aim is to make him a little bit quicker, so maybe 250-ish. And then potency, so he's about 60 to 70, I think it might be. And the general gist of it is that if he's been more potent, it's just, if you ever need to take out Starkiller in GAC, it gives you more of a chance. I'm not saying you can't do it as you are right now, but just being able to land those target locks with Grievous Wounds, that nice little buff to him, if you like. But honestly, like I say, I've fluctuated in that modding. I've sometimes done what you've got right now, and other times I've gone to, as I say, speed, health, potency. I honestly don't think there's a wrong way. I think both have the merits, so by all means stick there, but I'm putting this out there just as an idea of if you think, right, I need health primaries elsewhere, what can I do? Maybe it's an option to take them off Grievous, and if you've got a suitable replacement with speed and health and potency primaries. Okay, so anything else here that's worth a gander at? I'm actually looking for your B1. Oh, it's right at the top, I missed it. I say I'm blind and I cannot see. 259 speed, fair chunk of potency, not a lot of damage. Okay, so that would be a touch concerning. Just looking quickly at these, you've got offense flat there. You got an offense percentage there, that's worth a roll. Offense primary, and a touch of offense there. Offense percent, that's great. And no offense at all really here. So it's worth remembering, just put that out there. B1 can't score critical hits, so when you've got like crit chance there, it feels like wasted stats. I mean, again, you can't always avoid it. You know, you're gonna have like this where you've got offense percent, that's great. And then you've got crit chance that's doing nothing. So I do get that, but if you're ever moving things around and you're thinking, right, what can I put on B1? Maybe it's a justification for making sure the crit chance isn't there, because it's a bit like the health and all the other stats. It's kind of worthless, isn't it? But those are the two numbers I tend to look at with B1, even though I have, again, neglected B1 recently just because droids have kind of faded. I try and make B1 the quickest in the team, so 259 probably, well, based on what I saw, is going to be the quickest in your team. And I try to shoot for 89k physical damage. So you've got a bit of climbing to do there, but saying that you're at rally 3, mine are both, I think, at R5. So you get a little bump there as well. One quick look here. We go different routes on B2, it seems. Yeah, you've gone a potency route. My B2 modern strategy is heavy tenacity. I always believe that when you run in GG, or even myself right now, where I don't use B2 with GG but I use him with Afra, I feel like it's important that he is as tenacious as he can be. Because if he's not resisting dazes, stuns, all those kind of debuffs, he is not going to be taking those bonus turns to do the things you need him to do. So, in my honest opinion, I would swap them out. Get a tenacity, 6 tenacity mods on, make them as tenacious as you can. I think I've got about 140 to 150 tenacity. And I can only describe it with B2 that with those kind of mods on him, it just feels like I've got a nice safety blanket. And I don't ever like the thought of taking that safety blanket away from him. So that's honestly what I would suggest here. Because as well as that, because you get so many bonus turns effectively with Relentless Barrage, Reactive Protocol. I'm saying bonus turns, not literal ones, but you get so many turns. I feel like you don't necessarily need the potency because mow down, you're going to get so many chances to use it if P2's doing his job effectively, that it would almost be a surprise if he doesn't land these buff immunities and, actually do the debuffs he's trying to apply. So yeah, that would be a change there. And I've got a feeling there's something here, but I might be wrong, actually. Yeah, your tenacity's okay there. And you've got the crit avoid, so you're actually where I would like it there. I was going to point out a crit avoid arrow would be nice. And yeah, okay, maybe you could get a tenacity primary there. That's a little nitpicky. But yeah, Magna's actually looking how I'd like it. Try and just make it a little bit tanky, i.e. the crit avoid and the defensive stats. But if you can also just get that little bit of tenacity, just similar to Magna Guard, just to make sure he's not being debuffed easily, it's going to be worth it. Okay, I feel like I've talked about droids enough, considering they aren't really in an A-tier faction at the moment. So yeah, Gideon, your fastest. I'm not surprised in terms of who that might be. 331, okay. Let's have a look at Mara then. 326. Okay, by Mara standards, that does feel a little bit slow. I think... I can't remember both of my accounts, but I'm pretty sure I just remodded Crimson to be about 360. And let me just bring up your numbers again, if I can. Here we go. You have got less 25s than Crimson has, so you can take it from that point of view that it is going to be tricky to spread your best mods around. I would argue Mara's probably one of those that deserves them if you can spare them. It's that thought process of, if you're using EP Mara Starkiller to take down Rey, if she's at, say, 350, 360, she's gained 70 from Starkiller's unique in GAC. So that takes it takes Mara up to about 420 to 430, depending on how much speed we're talking about. It just means that she's guaranteed to go after Rey. When you think as well, some Reys are pretty slow. They'll have a lot of health or a lot of offense, but then they can't spare the speed. So it really is beneficial getting Mara out nice and early, because it means that the bends don't take the turn, that the... I wouldn't say Ezra, because you really don't want to be facing the Ezras with Starkiller, but you can win it with the current Kron set, and it's... How do I phrase it? Because I don't want to focus too much on Krons, but if I remember the play pattern right, essentially you've got to throw the grenade first to get rid of the foresights, and then try and hang in a little bit and let her take a turn. It's not clean battle, I've got to say that. You can lose it as often as you win it, but still, if we're talking about Ezra less Rey, you want Mara taking the early turn just so that she can start getting debuffs out with the first special. You won't be able to control the battle via that. So yeah, honestly, that'd be the one I'd say, yeah, she's worth a little nudge up your list. I like the Lucky Inquisitors in terms of turn order. 7th, 5th, Grand, to me that's perfect. I think there are some people who put 8th faster than Grand, but I've not done that myself, so personally I think you're doing alright. I'm not going to look at the actual speeds because it's just turn order I'm bothered about there. What's Piet at? 281. Although one problem I'm seeing there is offense sets versus speed sets. I mean, again, if you stretch it with mods, I can understand it. Imps maybe aren't the biggest faction right now, especially when you haven't got Dark Trooper built up. No Judgment 10 was behind there. But yeah, if you could give Piet some speed sets, even if, like, say the speed starts off slow, like what were we at there? 270 was it? 281. So say you're currently at 281, and you've got some what I would describe as raw mods, and you think, right, these don't look great. You could always try upgrading them, see if it shoots past 280 once they're all upgraded. So, like, create a blank mod set, just see if you can get them faster than what Piet's got now. Just for the simple reason, he's not in the Mara category, where I would say you need this character fast. But he's still someone that, I don't know about you, if I take my imps into a battle, if Piet's going first, I'm happy. Gideon kind of doesn't fit in that group now. I feel like he's kind of glued to Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, so I feel like Piet's got to carry the speed for that team. So yeah, a little bit interesting there. Right, I'm going to try and take a mental note of Thrawn's speed, 253. Because if I just skip a few factions for a minute. Wow. I wasn't expecting it to be that quick. So yeah, 253 plus 21 is 274 if I've done my numbers right there. So you will have the right turn order as far as your armor will be able to go first. You'll be able and use This Is the Way. From there, Thrawn should take a turn. You can pass it back to armor, and you can use Earn Your Signet to put Beskar on whatever Galactic Legend usually you're trying to protect, see, slack, or whatever. So the only thing I would say, you could afford to make Thrawn quicker. I mean, I'm thinking you don't necessarily need to make him too fast, but ideally I think it is you want 21 speed between them. So if you can bump him up a little bit, you'll get closer to that 21. I mean, I think it'll be a bit like I said with Bosk and Grief. It would be a fun challenge for you. But I think this is the thing, right? I know the reason you've changed guilds comes down to wanting to ease back and find your own fun almost, if you to try and enjoy the game a bit more. So for me, just trying to suggest things, I'm hoping I'm calling them mini games. You know, you could argue it is a bit like that. Just trying to essentially see if you can actually hit these little goals for yourself, you know, because something like this is different to say, all right, I've got to unlock Balin's Skull. You know what I mean? Like, that is like a daily grind. Whereas something like this is something that could take, I don't know, a couple of weeks. You know, you just keep going, farming mods, seeing if they come out with good speed. And if they do, right, we got a mod set. So, again, you should know me by now. I don't tell anyone what to do, but I'm just trying to throw ideas out here for you. As far as the rest, I don't really think there's too much I want to look at here. I mean, Third Sister, you got offense and health. That looks pretty good to me. I'm not going to go further there. Got Vader. Actually, again, I think that's alright. I mean, I would go down the potency route myself. And yeah, I don't think he needs much speed. It all depends how you're using him. Arguably, he could do speed if he's not with other Empire or Sith. So if you plan to use him at some point with, say, Dr. Aphra, then yeah, a bit of speed would be good just so he's not lagging behind the rest. But I think if you're using him with like ragtag Empire and Sith that you've not used with Starkiller, for instance, then yeah, 236 he should be fine. At least for most things you're going to take him against. But after that, I don't think there's anything else. I mean, yeah, I would say that looks solid. Oh, one last thing, I don't need to go into the character, but I would suggest you try and up the relics on your Royal Guard. I mean, it's such an odd one to suggest, right? Because a lot of people will use either Bounty Hunters or Bo-Katan Mandalore to take out Lord Vader. Now, you haven't got Lord Vader, I'm not ignoring that. But it's the idea that that is a project for you down the line, which I'm guessing it is because of the Bad Batch we saw. You would want your Royal Guard a little bit higher, because just supposing that what you've put on defense is pulled away from their Bo-Katan Mandalore, their Bounty Hunters, then their next port of call could be a JML or a JMK. And whilst I wouldn't say JMK particularly would struggle with Royal Guard, because that would insta-kill, then maybe a double tank there would create a problem, which means Royal Guard could be one of two that they take out. Or if you go for the single tank and it's JML, sometimes he can just be a bit of a bugger to take out. So I'm just floating ideas there that even though you don't need to go to the crazy R9s that I think the top end guilds would push to do, if you wanted to just try and make your Lord Vader a little bit more resilient, maybe going between R5 to R7 would be a nice little goal for him. Again, this is all presuming you're going for Lord Vader. If you're not really committing to that, then yeah, just take that all with a pinch of salt. Yeah, Ewoks, no big surprises here, although I have been singing this hymn for a long time. Make Paplu your fastest Ewok. And Tamin is crying at the thought that he hasn't done it either. I genuinely need to get some decent mods for Paplu there, because I'm not heeding my own advice. He is a god tier Ewok. Plus 25% speed, it cannot be ignored. Alright, First Order, I don't really want to look too much at it because Slack is the main one to look at, but we'll check your hooks. Ooh, that's a bit slow, 238. Yeah, you could be pushing a bit higher than that. We're talking at least high 280, 290. I think I might have pushed mine into the 300s, so 230 is a bit slow. Just, again, simply for the idea that you want hooks to get a nice and early turn, pass it to Slacker to get that off. But equally, there's some counters anyway, minus Dark Side Vision Ray. You would want Officer to be faster than Hooks as well. So I can't remember exactly the numbers I'm running, but for argument's sake, if you've got a 290 speed Hooks, you want to stay a 295 Officer. That way, I'm saying 295, you might even want it to be a bit higher to account for speed down, which is what I was trying to do in my head. But essentially, if you can get Officer faster, then the turn order for the battle would usually go Slacker does a poke, Officer passes a turn back to Slacker, Slacker then does a swipe, Hooks takes a turn, passes back to Slacker, and he can poke again. So that's the way you want to mod it, so that essentially Slacker through, Slacker, Hooks, Slacker. And the only thing that interrupts it is speed down, which is pretty much Jabber, I think. But again, Dark Side Vision Ray, I don't know what your thoughts are there. That will change things, I'm sure, because I'm guessing that the optimal team there will be something like Slacker, Hooks, Red Trooper, maybe not Crew, maybe Stormtrooper, and Ray. So, yeah, I think Officer would just slip to the wayside there. Okay, Galactic Republic. By the way, I said I wanted this to be quick, and I've been on 48 minutes. Yeah, so Cat just quick check the speed. 341, that's solid for me. Anything of note here? Let's have a quick look at your poncho, bro. 301 and a load of health, I like it. Queen Amidala, 289, 93 health. I think that could be a little bit quicker, but again, I'm being fairly pedantic, plus I'm maybe using higher standards, so I'd say that's okay still. 270, 85, I think that's okay. Let me just check the primaries a bit. Crit damage, offense. Yeah, that all looks fine. I think it's just one of those where I'd be a little concerned about Padawan Obi-Wan being a touch too slow, but in my mind, I think you're better having him a bit slow than too slow. I don't think I said that right. Yeah, essentially the turn order in my head is you want Queen Amidala, Queen Amidala, Padawan Obi-Wan, Master Qui-Gon, and then because Padawan Obi-Wan gains speed on the first special, or is it 100 speed? He will then, well, if I'm right anyway, he should lap Master Qui-Gon. Unless, again, I can't remember the exact one here, so I'm going to take the foot out that's in my mouth right now. I'm going to remove it. Yeah, definitely a case of not exactly knowing what I'm saying. Alright, R2, yeah, I've got Leia, so makes sense to check. Okay, you could do with a few stat bumps here, ideally. Because of Leia, you would want about 300 speed on R2. And damage, you're talking about 8-9k. So, you're not miles off, but Ideally, R2 would be just that little, well, I say a little bit quicker, quite a bit quicker. Anything else of note? How's your Anakin looking? 252 speed. I'm assuming, yeah, you got the Omicron, cams there. So you could do getting Anakin a little bit quicker for if you're using Qui-Gon anyway, but if not, then yeah, you don't need to do anything. Alright, there's nothing too noticeable there. Geos, yeah, I'm not going to add too much there. GG's, Poggle Omicron. Oh, Poggle Omicron. Gungans, another thing I like to see. I love that sound effect. Okay, yeah, so 286 speed. Nice chunk of protection there. And I think some potency there. Yeah, I like that as well. Genuinely, one of the best animations in the game. Jar Jar, let's see, 275 speed. Again, that seems right to me. I think you did right as well. You took him to R6 for the GA Omicron with the 3 radical amplifier levels condition. So I took mine to 9, and it feels massive overkill. So I think you did right going only to 6, but I might have to see how it looks on defense by comparison, just see if there is a benefit to 9 versus 6. Okay, so turn order. I do think you're right. The only one I would maybe switch around is Boomba and Tarples. But honestly, I think you could be fine as is. So, you Gungans are looking good, speed-wise. Hook Cartel, I don't think there's anything I really want to look at here, because we did touch on most of them. Remnants, again, kind of the same thing. Yeah, nothing to really focus on there. Although, I'm envious of the Stormtrooper there. Right, Inquisitors we've already touched on, so just out of curiosity, did you get the Jawa pack? You did. Yeah, I'm not going to proclaim to know anything about Jawa modding. Move along. So, what are we expecting here that could be different? First of all, GG's on the 2 Omicrons for Ezra. I wish I'd got them spare. Shaq. Let's have a look. 287. It'll be a little bit quicker again. 300's a pretty solid stat for Shaq. Again, I obviously use Hot Utils to help me remod, and I generally get 300 advised for me without even trying. So again, I'm respecting the fact we've got different mod amounts in terms of 25 pluses, but I think that would be a nice goal to try and get 300. She's pretty nice at that, let's say that. Let's see what else she got. So, Hermit Yoda, 281. The one reason I would say that Hermit could do with being a bit quicker is for Jedi Knight Luke. So, on the rare occasions that you would want to use Jedi Knight Luke lead, usually in 3v3, then if Hermit Yoda is about 330 speed, it means he's usually going to go and use Luke's special ability, the Heroes Arise ability. And it's just one of those nice comfort blankets again, where you think, all right, 330 won't outspeed everything, but if I know my character is pretty fast at that speed, then I know I'll know when I'm going to outspeed something. So you can still use that same logic at the current speed, 281, but again, it'd be nice if it was a bit quicker, because then you could rely on it a bit more. How's your Revan's speed? 277. I feel you there. I haven't dropped that low of my Revan, but I felt like I've had to avoid doing it. You know, there's so many times when it's kind of dropped into really what feels like low scores, and I've had to bump him up a bit. So, yeah, same kind of thing. If you can bump him up, try it, but I know it's an issue. But yeah, I don't think there's much else here I want to pay too much note to. I mean, Cal, I was actually bogged down yesterday trying to remod mine. You're close to the 100k health goal. I think speed could be a little higher, but I think that's about right. And damage, I would say, is about right as well. So your Cal's looking good. But yeah, from there, I think your Jedi are all looked at. Out of curiosity, have you kept up with what I said? Nope. Crit Avoid Primary. And then health, the nasty primary. All down to, which one is it? Don't interrupt me. He has 100% tenacity. In addition, at the start of the battle, he gains bonus crit avoidance equal to half of his tenacity. Even now, I still mod with this in mind. Even if you want to use full health sets, give him as much tenacity as you can spare. That way he's gaining crit avoid, and if you got the crit avoid arrow, it's just more crit avoid. And I might be mistaken, I think he gains crit avoid from his mastery as well, so it's a double whammy. So, say you do health mod sets, and you've got a crit avoid primary there, you go and bump both of these stats up in mastery. So, for me, it's a no-brainer. You know, if Jolie's not getting crit, he's surviving longer. So, always worth it for me. Alright, Mandos. You've got Maul, so we can have a look there. My assumption is you're going for the... Well, it wouldn't make sense to go for the Lord Vader modding, so you're going for the non-Lord Vader modding. So, low protection, decent speed, decent offense. Yeah, that looks good to me. I'm happy with that. Not much else to look at here, to be honest. At least nothing that we've not already looked at. Your armor speed was very nice. So, let's move on. We're going to ignore Mercenary because I feel like that overlaps a little bit. As far as Nightsisters, I'm liking your relics. They're a very funky faction to judge via speed. Have a look how this is looking. 113k health. I think you've done good to have a touch of tenacity on. I wasn't sure if you'd actually got that via a primary, so you've done well without a primary. This is something I've spoke about a few times. I don't know offhand if this is the right thing, but this is what I think you do. You go crit avoid for Daka. You go health there and tenacity there. This is how I remember it anyway. I'm going to just check my own just while I'm saying this. Yeah, so this is what I've been doing on Tammin. So crit avoid arrow, health triangle, tenacity cross. And essentially, you don't want to overdo some of those stats because you don't need crazy numbers. But with Daka, you don't want her getting stunned, dazed, ability blocked because essentially, she's the one that's going to make sure you keep in the game. I mean, Merrin's obviously a big part of this puzzle now as well, in terms of, we put tenacity, for instance, she's got a cleanse, so that does help. But you don't want to be sort of in a position where if she's ability blocked as well, you're having to time out, wait for a turn to bring Nightsisters back. So, honestly, I just think that touch of tenacity is nice that you've, if you can put it on. Let me just bring your Daka back up. Where is she? There we go. Yeah, so just to compare, yours is R3. I've got 134 health, you've got 113. And your potency is 65, mine was 79. Your tenacity is 69, mine's 82. So we aren't a million miles away despite quite a few relics between us. So honestly, I would say you're not far off the right, well, I say the right path I'm on anyway. So yeah, I'm curious how you see it. I would try and go the crit avoid route because, again, it's a bit like Jolie. You get the double whammy with the mastery, but I'm going to leave that to you. If you're happy with your Daka's mods, don't change something that isn't broken. But if you're thinking, why not, let's give it a whirl, it's an option for you. Okay, I don't think there's much else here to talk about, so we'll move on. If anything, I am really aware of the time this video will have taken. Old Republic, so yep, nothing too surprising here in terms of Lightspeed bundle. Oh, hang on, saying that. One bundle, it was that one, wasn't it? The ship one. Still, GG's. Phoenix. Alright, they're looking good. Turn order-wise, what I would say, I'm not going to look at specific mods, but I'm just going to stick on the screen. Rex, naturally, first choice, brilliant. I would try and get Sabine next in line. So, how I've done it on mine, Rex is fastest, then Sabine, then Chopper, then Hera, then Kanan. So, it's the idea that Rex does his AoE, gets days on the board. Sabine comes in, she puts a low. Assuming you put the Zeta on her as well, which I've only just noticed you don't have. If you have the Zeta, it applies staggers across the board, and it can't be countered as well. Nice little added bonus. So from there, they're all staggered, and then you can start focusing on whatever units you want with Chopper's basic, with Hera's call to assist. It just chains pretty nicely. Arguably, you could try it the other way around. Sabine's fastest and then Rex, but I don't know anyone that does that. Plus, that would probably be crazy to get Sabine that fast. So, yeah, the way I've seen it done is Rex, Sabine, then Chopper, Hera, Kanan. So just a little tweak into your turn order there. Alright, Rebels. Right, I did mention it earlier, I think, but GG's on having the Omicron for Luthen. I would really like to give him at least that one Omicron in particular, so I am a little bit jealous. I saw the speed was 291 there, didn't I? Yeah, so that's decent. I think you could probably push higher, but considering what we've seen, I think 291's okay. I like the fact that Adrad's ahead of Jin, so that's good. How's your CLS? 269, you've got 65 tenacity, 10k PD. So yeah, a bit of an interesting one here in terms of you've got the right mod sets, offense and tenacity. The one thing that I do focus on, I try and make sure he's got tenacity as a focus, because I feel like a bit similar to some of the teams I've mentioned, if CLS has got tenacity in his kit, then 3PO and Chewie is stealing it. And I feel like having tenacity across the team is a really nice thing, because a lot of things that you'll be taking CLS in against, or that will go into face CLS, they will apply debuffs. So just having that tenacity, it's such a great way of making sure you're not slowing down. So that'd be one advisement. Just try and get a tenacity cross on, see if you can bump the number up a bit more. But that PD did look very nice, so I could understand the reluctance there. How fast is your harm? 260, okay. Might not win many duels if you ever did a mirror match, but honestly, I think if you got to that position, it'd be a case of, right, let's not do a mirror. One little niche thing. Crit chance on Rolo, 81%. If you want a very cheap 3v3 counter for Adrad, try and get your crit chance up to 100%. Then you can do Wedge Lead, Biggs, and Rolo. That is a sight to behold. Other than that, I'd say we're okay. I'm really going to try and start speedrunning here, so bear with me if I do skip over something important. Ooh, that's kind of kooky. I've not seen Poe Dameron's quicker than one of the Hero Bros. Yeah, very interesting. I mean, I would say that's wrong. You know, I do think Hero Finn should be probably second fastest or third fastest if count R2. But yeah, can sort of see what's gone on here in terms of, I don't think Resistance has been your worked on faction. Like, Finn's got no Zeta, Zori's only a little bit touched up. So yeah, I can understand why it is as it is. But, you know, if you ever sit down one day and you're like, alright, I want work on this team a little bit, I want to make them a bit better, that's probably a place to start. Alright, we'll look at the Separatists. Probably not too much difference here between these and Droids. Yeah, Newt's 270. Could be a touch quicker again, but it's alright. Trench isn't built up, so not much to say there. Okay, so Sith. We've had a look at a bit of this, but let's just have a look through the main candidates. 342, that's nice and solid for Raven. Malgus. That looks solid for the health pool. It's Relic 8, so maybe it could be a bit higher, but doesn't look bad. 299 speed. That again is good. I would say, if given the choice, you could probably afford to slow Malgus down a touch to give him more health. Let's just have a look at what sets you've got. Health primary, good speed, health. health. Yeah, you've done very good with the mod sets there, so yeah, GG's, man. Sorry, I haven't seen many Sidious Omicrons in a while. I didn't realise you got one. The sight to behold. You've got health, defense, tenacity sets there. Okay. A little bit surprising that you've got 200k protection. I feel like that's something I tend to see. Another thing as well, I wouldn't really focus on tenacity now. I mean, I was against tenacity modding anyway when Revan was the lead, just for the fact that when you look at ferocity, it takes off defense. It takes off defense and tenacity per stack. So when it was Revan lead days, you know, you used to be gaining ferocity all the time. Whereas under Malgus lead, it doesn't happen as much, but you do still get ferocity. It's usually from that special I just showed, Full Storm. So I'm not saying you can't mod for tenacity on Malak, but I feel like if you were to min-max the potential of all these mods, or the boosts they give, you could argue that boosting for protection is more beneficial than tenacity. So it's something I would consider. Just try and make him bulkier. Just think if you're using someone to try and counter it with Jedi Knight Luke or Cal Kestis, it's just that extra bit of work they've got to put in to take your character down, because they can still land the debuffs. They can still lock you down. It's just a case of, will it be the difference between them getting you out or being timed out? Bane. Again, that kind of looks good to me. I think you could maybe speed him up a bit, but I don't think anyone's going to cry at home about that. I think 250 is alright for Bane. Alright, let's go to the next faction. We've looked at most of them, actually. Have you got any Tuskens? You have. 275, nothing crazy there. 243, again, nothing too crazy. Alright, they look decent, your Tuskens, in terms of, you know, they look relatively well modded. Did you have Taran? You did. Okay. Fair chunk of health. You could probably put a touch more speed on Taran, again, about 250-ish. The offense, that looks grand. So yeah, and I am in love with the triple Omicron on him, so you've done well there as well. Honestly, nothing to really say there. I mean, I can see you've done a bit of work on Shin and Marek, a bit of work on the background on Padawan Sabine. It'd be ideal if you could get Visas up, just so you've got available for Starkiller. I always find she's better than a Ray Scav or something, just for the fact that you go to Starkiller and you think, right, there is a direct call out in there. Here we go. Whenever Starkiller uses a special ability, the light side healers after cooldowns reduced by 4. You know, there's only one light side healer who goes in this team, and that's Visas. So, yeah, honestly, that's how I just see it. Also, R5, if you could take him up 2 route levels, I know it sounds redundant to a degree, but honestly, 5 to 7 is a nice little jump. And I'm not suggesting you do it, but this is how I'm thinking about it. I've heard there's a jump as well from 7 to 8 to 9. So, in the back of my head, I keep thinking, right, if ever we need a Starkiller platoon, I'm not going to worry about doing Starkiller myself. So, yeah, I wouldn't hesitate taking him up if you ever get... Well, like me at the moment on my free-to-play, I'm like, I actually don't want to farm things. So, if I were you, I would... If you ever have a moment like that where you're like, you know what, I just can't go straight into another Galactic Legend farm, I need to pause and do something different for my sanity, then maybe that's it. Just give Starkiller a bump up or 2. But yeah, we're at the bottom. Nothing else there to see. So, honestly, Grogu, there's been such a lot there that I've liked. I feel like I was pretty consistent in terms of concern, that when I look at it... Hang on, just one thing before I go. Sidious. 291 speed. That's pretty fast. You can maybe afford to slow him down outside of TW. You know, maybe that's a pain in the arse in terms of remodding, but... I can't say I feel like 291 on Sidious is nice. Outside the raid, anyway. But yeah, just back to what I was saying. I think you've got a lot of nice things there. I think it's been a case, from what I can tell, that you've got mods that... What's that meme? We were this close to perfection. It was... Oh, Kranich. Yeah, you've got Kranich syndrome where you've got a load of mods that are essentially very close to being good and they just fell off. It's like, this is where when you slice and you kind of get to a point of going, do I go further or do I leave it here? And I think there were a few there that maybe you could have just stopped on. So it's something you just hit the knack up of. You sort of realise, right, if I keep rolling this, I'm just going to get nowhere with it. So maybe just try and refine your mod strategy a little bit, because I think if you get better mods, you're going to have a lot of good things in your roster, because you've got all the tunes, or at least you've got a lot of good tunes. So it's just a case of getting everything up to a better standard. And I'm not saying any of it's bad either, just bumping it up a little, you know, just going from that like passing grade to top in class. And I'm going to say, I know we've got class clown in the back with Fat Kid, but I'm going to say, I'm sure you can lead from the front there. Alright, I've got to get my put downs in on Fat Kid. If I didn't tell him a few things like that, he wouldn't think I love him. Okay, so ships just to wrap up. You've got your Scythe done, Fury class. Well, we saw your Leviathan, so we can gather things like that. Marauder's done, nice one to see there. What is the new ship? I'm trying to remind myself while I'm talking here. Punishing one. Yeah, 6 stars, so that looks grand. There isn't anything that you're missing that you shouldn't, is there? No, you're all caught up as far as I can tell. Maybe there's something that you haven't unlocked that I can't see. But by and large, you look like you're all caught up. So yeah, again, props to you, man. You've done really well. I mean, I'm wrapping up here. It's been 1 hour and 12. I think that's long enough for any video, let alone one like this again. But all I'll say is, Grogu, I'm glad to not have you in my guild, but I just hope you keep enjoying the game however you're playing it, because you've got a lot of good stuff. It'd be a shame if it went into the retirement home we've got, but yeah, I completely get anyone who goes down that path right now. Well, not even right now. I've understood it for a while. Personally, I'm at the point in the game where I can't see myself doing that, but I've been down that road before, so I know what it's like. So I'm thinking yourself, you've just gone from what we're calling our competitive guild to a less competitive guild. I'm thinking about how, once make sure I say his name right. I'm scrolling on Discord really quick here. I'm thinking how JBR has stepped down recently as well. So yeah, it's just one of those where I completely understand why people have to take a back seat, but with yourself in particular, just because I've known you so long, it's a shame to see you doing it. But again, I understand it. I wanted to do this to say sorry for not doing it so soon after you asked me. I definitely didn't mean to leave it this long. But yeah, hope you have a good one, Grogu. And everyone else who's been watching. Yeah, I feel like I've just been having a 1v1 here. I haven't really invited other people into this roster review, but I hope that you have enjoyed this weird vibe I've been giving off. If you saw my video the other day, I want to kind of apologise for it, because I feel like I was more soppy than I meant to be. I think I had a minor mental breakdown and I wanted to just talk things out, even if it was just to my camera, and it did help me a little bit, until I then realised that I might have a couple hundred people, sorry, judging me. So the perils of YouTube, folks. But yeah, I hope you all have a good day or a good night, whatever time of the world you might be. And I will be streaming as usual. So for those of you who don't know, I'll be streaming in UK time Thursday afternoon, Friday evening, and Monday afternoon. So if you want to see your GACs, tune in for those. I'm on Twitch and on YouTube. And yeah, until then, folks, bye for now, everyone.